Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So the Swedish word of the day is recycle, which is the Swedish återvinna. Återvinna. Today I am doing another get ready with me. That's the only thing I do nowadays. I'm gonna use some makeup that's old. I'm gonna use some old favorites, just some old makeup in general. A lot of these are limited edition I'm lying. A lot of these are not limited edition, but some of them are limited edition that you cannot purchase anymore. So even if you wanted to purchase it, you couldn't. Some makeup in here are newer, okay? Just so you're aware, don't hate me. Primers, for instance, is not new.
What?
The foundation, they are new. What am I saying? Why am I even filming this? So the primers are new, but my foundation is a little bit of a matte foundation, so I feel like I need a very hydrated base in order for me to be able to use that foundation. Don't get me wrong, I like that foundation, but only if I mix it with a very hydrating primer. So this was the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched face base. And then I'm also gonna take a little bit of my Smashbox Mindful of 5. This is a serum slash primer and it's green, so it looks like it looks like that. And then I'm just gonna press it into my skin. You know what I did? I feel like the worst person in the entire world. For some reason, I have been super sleepy recently. I've been so tired that when I've come home, I've just laid down on the couch and I'm like, it's insane. And if I take a little power nap, I still want to sleep, and then I want to sleep, and then I want to sleep. I can sleep for like a bazillion hours. I'm wondering if I get enough D vitamin. I don't think so. The foundation I'm gonna use is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Foundation that I have in the shade Porcelain. And as you can see, I've used a pretty good amount of it. And this is like 50 milliliters, which is almost 2 full-size foundations. But I think I'm gonna mix it with, because this is a little bit too dark and a little bit too thick for me. So I think I'm just gonna take a teensy tiny bit of the Dior foundation. Just like so, and then I'm gonna take the rest of my Too Faced one. So yesterday, when I came home from work, today I'm off by the way, but when I came home from work, I said to Nicholas, like, I think I wanna take a little bit of a power nap and just kind of sleep. I think we slept for 3.5 or 4 hours, both of us. And then we cooked some dinner, we ate, and then I just kept falling asleep, and Nicholas was like, you're snoring. And I was like, no, I'm not snoring. I want to be awake. I want to be productive. I want to like edit and do shit like that. But I just kept falling asleep. So eventually I was like, I can't do this. I'm just too tired. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to bed. And I slept with my makeup on. Today, when I woke up, I have never felt so dirty. It's like, I don't know, but I just hate that feeling when you go to sleep and you have your makeup on. It's something so horrible about it. I just feel like my skin is like dirty and shameful. It's like it's doing the walk of shame. I just felt like I wanted to scrub my face, and I just felt like, oh, now I'm gonna get so many pimples, and this is just not a good time. And then a real oldie is my Milk Makeup bronzer stick. You know what I think is kind of strange? Because now for about like 2 to 3 weeks, I've used the Nude Sticks one. And obviously when I got it, it was up to here. Now when I screw it down, this is the amount that I've used. So I'm like terrified that I'm gonna finish this in almost like a month, because this is all I have left. I mean, I love the color of it, but if you only get that little amount of product that yeah, and it's not even gonna last for about like a month. Then I'm gonna purchase the Milk Makeup one. But I can see I have some spots right here. I think that is because I slept with makeup on. And the eyes, my eyes felt so like, you know, clumpy, and my mascara was like all dry and under my eyes. It was not a good time at all. And then on my nose, and then I'm just gonna do my brows, and then we can hop into eyeshadow. I don't know why, but I've changed my routine a little bit so that I I do my foundation and bronzer, brows, and then eyeshadow. I don't know why. I felt like it, and sometimes it's just nice to change up your routine a little bit. I don't like to do my concealer because then sometimes I just get like fallout and I ruin the entire base, and then you're gonna see me be very, very mad and angry. I have two eyeshadow palettes here today. One is the Colourpop Good Sport palette. This one I did a video on not too long ago, maybe a month ago, maybe 1.5 months ago. I'll link that video right up here, but it is a super neutral look that I did, so I thought that maybe some of you would be like a little bit disappointed and wanted me to use something a little bit more fun, because I think I used these 3 shadows, the boring shades if you will. I just didn't feel like doing anything special, but then I also brought out my Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the Bling Boss palette that I used to just absolutely love and adore. And I haven't used it in such a long time, so I kind of wanted to use this one, but I think I will go for the Colourpop Good Sport palette. I think a lot of you guys have it, and it is a little bit unique than the Morphe palette from Jaclyn Hill, or with Jaclyn Hill. So I thought that I would just talk a little bit about Swedish true crime. It's not a mystery that I'm loving true crime and that I watch it all the time. I watch true crime on YouTube more than I watch makeup videos. I wanted to bring forward a topic, and before anyone gets like super excited, I am not gonna start making true crime videos again. I used to do it. I have a playlist that you can watch with like 10 to 15 videos perhaps. I'll link it right up here. It's on Peter Madsen and a lot of other people, but it is Swedish true crime. So I can link it right up here, and I can also link to my video where I talked about why I won't do true crime videos anymore. I'm gonna start off with a yellow that is called Trooper. But there is something that has been bugging me a lot ever since I started watching true crime from other countries, because I feel like Sweden is so different from all of these countries. So there is this guy, he has done like, this is a true crime channel, and he has done many videos on Swedish true crimes. So let me just take up so I don't mispronounce his name, because that would be shameful. So his name is Joshua Miles, and he has done a few videos on Swedish true crimes. He has talked about Engla, he has talked about Lisa Holm, he has talked about Therese Rojo, and he has talked about Johanna Möller, he has talked about Kim Wall. Peter Madsen was Danish, but Kim Wall was Swedish. Now I can't find the Johanna Möller case, but I know that he did one, because I know that there were some errors in that video, and I know I commented about the errors or the mistakes or the misinformation, just so it would be a little bit more clear. Not shaming him in having the incorrect information. It was super small, so the information wasn't that big. Anyway, when I've watched those videos, I have been so ashamed, and I will admit that I didn't watch the Therese Rojo case, because I can get into that in a little bit, but I have been so ashamed when I watched some of his true crime videos, because I've been ashamed about the Swedish justice system. It's insane how we can let people... Okay, I know that this video is all over the place, but I have so many things to say. I have so many things to talk about, and I feel like I'm on the verge of crying. He talked about Engla. If you're unaware, I can just briefly mention this to you. I'm just gonna take this green shadow. Engla was 10 years old, and she had been away during the day, and she was riding her bike when going home, and her mother was waiting for her. Engla didn't get home, and long story short, she was killed by a 42-year-old man. So he basically just took her off her bike and then killed her, and he was later arrested just because of the fact that there was this man out. This is a man that had nothing to do with the case. He was out, he had bought a new camera and he was testing it out. So he took a photo of the killer's car just by accident, and then he took a photo because Engla was then coming riding her bike, and he took a photo of her when she was riding her bike. And then when they heard about a young girl that disappeared and he went to look at his photos, he realized that he had a photo of her and the car. So he brought in all of these photos to the police, and the police could then arrest the killer, that is called Anders Eklund, 42-year-old. So he admitted to this murder, and he told them where the body was, where he left the body. Just before we get to anything, when he had killed Engla, he took her body, put it in the trunk of his car, and then left to his favorite diner where he had dinner. Very disturbing. And then he took his car and disposed of the body. When Anders was arrested, he also confessed to another murder that happened 8 years prior, and he confessed to a attempt to a rape. But he had actually been arrested for this rape previous to this, and he got served 1 year for that. And it was a very traumatic rape for this young woman, or for this woman. And when Joshua did this video, he said, "No, I didn't say the wrong thing. You heard me correctly, 1 year." I felt so ashamed for Sweden. I felt so ashamed because if he had gotten a proper sentencing, and if they had handled the other murder on a older woman, she wasn't old, but you know what I mean, Pernilla was her name, that he had done 8 years prior, then Engla wouldn't have lost her life. So that was that murder. He's still in jail, by the way. This was in 2008. He's still in jail, luckily. This man isn't he's never gonna get out, I think, because he's a little bit, I don't think he has all the horses in his stable, if you know what I mean. And he's also, he feels very sad about himself, because you guys know that if you are into true crime, then if you kill children, you are at the bottom. And he has been assaulted many times, he has been hit many times, and he feels sorry for himself, which other people, we don't feel sorry for him. We don't care. We want him to be in pain. I applaud all of the people that gives him shit in jail. So that was that case. The case of Therese Rojo, I don't want to cover, or I actually looked into it thinking that I would cover it, but I just couldn't, because I remember when she disappeared, and I remember seeing all of the newspapers with her name and photo on it, and I just felt I think she's the same age as me. And I just felt so bad for this family and for her. And I was just hoping that she would come back safely, but that never happened. And some of my friends knew her. I have never talked to this person. I don't know who it is, but it just hit close to home because when she eventually was found and killed, the pain that they had was so close, even though it wasn't my pain. It was still pain that was so close. So I could never do it. But then also the thing is that Therese was at a party and she, I think, made out with this guy. They just like kissed once or hooked up and then nothing more of it. They never went home together. Nothing like that happened. Very, very innocent. I think she was like around 16 years old. This guy was involved with another girl that was, I think it was his girlfriend or ex. They had a very rocky relationship. So I don't really know about their relationship too much, but when she found out, she was very, very angry, and she said or demanded that her boyfriend should kill Therese. He was like, yeah, like trying to just write it off and be like, yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, of course I'm gonna do it. But then he realized that she was serious. So he was at a party and they were outside walking home or whatever. And he was like, can I talk to you right up here in the bushes? And then I think he strangled her, and then he left her there and told his girlfriend that, yeah, I did it now, and then just walked home. This was found out. I'm just gonna take some NYX Pigment Primer. But this was found out. I don't remember how they found it out, but nonetheless, they did. They got sentenced, but both of these people were under 18 years old. So when you are turning 18 years old in Sweden, you are basically an adult, so you can be sentenced as an adult, but you can be sentenced from the time when you're 15 years old in Sweden. But they were, I think they were 17 or 16 at the time of the crime. Maybe they were sentenced when they were 18, but I don't think they were. I think they were 16 years old. And I'm gonna look this up so I don't say the wrong thing, but you're gonna hear what kind of sentence they got. So they were sentenced to close psychiatric care, and they were sentenced to 1 year and 8 months. 1 year and 8 months for a young woman that never turned 16, 4 days before prom. I'm gonna take Ebb, and I'm gonna take a little bit of Hooked. So I think I'm gonna mix them. So I think I'm gonna start off with Hooked. I need to change the subject because I'm gonna start crying. Anyway, this was years ago. Both of these crimes were years ago. But the thing is that it's so fucked up here because you can do whatever you want, and it's not even like a punishment. These people never got punished. These people were never truly sentenced. How do you think that the family and friends of Therese feels when they are sentenced to such a ridiculous crime? They are out by the time that they turn 18 years old. Taking the shade Ebb. And right now, you can get sort of like a discount. Yes, you heard me correctly. Right now, you can get sort of like a discount. So let's say, for instance, that you kill someone and then you have done a bunch of different crimes. So the more crimes you have done, the more discount you will get. So it's like, instead of being sentenced to, let's say, for instance, in the US, that you can be sentenced to like 3 life sentences. Well, they would get a discount. So instead of getting like 3 life sentences, because in reality you can't serve 3 life sentences because you're gonna be dead before that, then you would get a discount. So you would only get 1 life sentence. So the more crimes you make, the less punished you get. And I just feel like this needs to be stopped. This needs to be changed. I'm gonna take Ebb a little bit more all over because I like this shade a little bit more. We just need to change this. We need to have harsher punishment. Maybe not as harsh as the US, or I'm not gonna compare us to other countries, but we need to have harsher punishments. And I'm not saying that we need to like make the death penalty a thing or something, because that's a whole nother topic, but we need to do something. So I just wanted to talk about another case. I was thinking that maybe I shouldn't. By the way, I did a little eyeliner off camera. I needed to go off camera to do this. I'm gonna take both my Beauty Act concealers, but oh, I need a mirror. I wasn't going to talk about another crime, but I felt like maybe I just needed to, because this is also a case that I worked on before I stopped making true crime videos, and this is a very unknown case and not a lot of people are talking about it, so I just felt like maybe I should just talk about it. So I'm gonna talk about Malin Lindström that was going to a friend in 1996. She was going to a friend's house, she was taking the bus. Her mother has said, no, you're not allowed to take the bus alone. But then when the mother came home, Malin had left a note saying that, Mom, I know you said I wasn't allowed to or something. Keep in mind, this is a very long time. I looked up this case. But she said, like, I know I wasn't allowed, but I'm going anyway. They were going to study or something, and Malin didn't have a lot of friends. But she had hung out with this friend, like, in school or in the gym. Not the gym, but something. They had met and they had had a great time. So Malin was very excited to go to this friend and just study or hang. I don't remember what they were going to do, but they were going to study or just play with each other and have a nice time, you know, and you know, whatever you do when you're with friends, you hang out. So she had never gone to this place before. It's not like she was going to ride this bus for like hours and hours, but she was going to just take this bus and go to her friend's house. So her friend and the friend's mother was waiting at the bus stop for Malin, but Malin never showed up. So they were a little bit confused and they thought that, okay, maybe she just changed her mind, because keep in mind, this is before cell phones and all of this happened, or that we got them. So they thought that maybe she just changed her mind, so they went home again. But they waited at the bus stop for a very long time to see if she came, but she never did. Malin was on the bus, because we know this because the police interrogated the people on the bus, but she didn't get off at the right stop, because she turned around and asked 2 girls, like, hey, I'm going off to this place, do you know where it is? And they were like, yeah, it's... And then they explained how the bus stop looked, and they said that it is, we're not gonna get there until 10 minutes. Do you want us to tell you when it is? But Malin just turned around and then just didn't respond to their question. A little bit later, just like 2 minutes later or something, she just went off the bus, and the girls were trying to say like, this is not the correct spot, but Malin just jumped off the bus, and then she was never seen again. They tried to find her, they tried to like look for her, but they never did. They never found her. Well, they did 6 months later. She was not far away from where she was last seen, like where she jumped off the bus. I'm just taking the green shadow that we used before. As I said, Malin was found 6 months later. Do you know where she was found? 250 meters from where she was last seen. 250 meters from when she was last seen. There was snow and shit when she disappeared, but still, that's just insane. Malin had been stabbed so many times in the back. She had been raped, sexually assaulted. She had been bound with tape. Her pants was like They were cut open, you know, where the vagina is, so that they could get, you know, they didn't even need to undress her. Taking the yellow shade. They did find DNA, like they found sperm, but at the time of this crime taking place, they couldn't really investigate it. They couldn't investigate the DNA, if you know what I mean, just because of the fact that the techniques weren't as evolved as it is right now. So they just preserved the DNA and said that we need to wait for the technique to evolve and then we can test this DNA. It was so little amount of this DNA that they knew that they only had one shot, and they didn't want to ruin it by rushing it. So the parents, the dad has actually spoken out and said that he thought that it would take just a little bit of time, not over 20 years that it has taken. I think last year they examined this DNA. Taking the Balm bronzer. I don't really know what I was talking about, but I know that I was talking about Malin and the fact that she disappeared and that they later found her. They found DNA in the form of sperm that they kind of preserved just to be able to look at it later on. This is what it looks like. The parents didn't know that it would take over 20 years, but this is an unsolved case, but it was solved at one point. So they arrested this guy that came forward as a witness that they later investigated, because during these 6 months that she was missing, they realized that someone had gotten and like put trees and branches and all of that over her body. So someone was obviously going there just to try and keep her hidden. When they came home to this witness, because he had actually been spotted, he said, by the way, that he was walking right behind her and he was trying to pin the murder on another guy, or he said that another guy was passing, and tried to explain how this guy was looking. But he later said that he was lying just because he was scared, because he was the last one to see her alive. The police thought that this was super sketchy, so they went to his house. They found Malin's underwear in his room because he was living with his mother. He wasn't that old. I think it was like maybe 19, so he hadn't moved away from home. They also found like paintings that of females that were bound and that had gotten the, you know, the knife that I said was that they took on Malin's jeans. The same thing was painted. There was this painting on like a branch or a little bit of like a tree of like some sort of skull that I think that he had drawn at home as well. So the police arrested him and they wanted to pin the murder on him. He was sentenced to the murder, but later on they appealed and he was let go. So they took the DNA and exhumed it in March 2019, just looked it up. They said that it would take 2 months for them to get answers, and answers has still not come. Not to talk about the fact that Malin will never get justice, because since he has been convicted and then released, the police will never get to him again, because apparently you can't do that, because we are pretty sure that it is him. He was seen, he has been tied to the investigation, he has been looked into and all of that, and he's like, we're pretty sure that it's him. And because of the way that the laws are seen, or the way that we have our laws, he will never be convicted of this crime, and Malin will never get justice. You know, I've been frustrated for a long time when hearing about Swedish true crimes and all of that. This is an old glow kit. This is a super old glow kit. This I had in my party pan in the beginning of the year. I think that this is the oldest glow kit or the oldest highlight I have in my collection right now, because I used up my Mirror Luminizer a couple of months ago, and now I think this is the oldest one that I have. I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade Mimosa, and then I'm gonna top it off with Crushed Pearl. So I've just been frustrated, and I've just felt so horribly for all of the victims, because I've looked into a lot of Swedish crimes in the past couple of months, and it's horrible when a parent is like sitting and waiting for their child's murderer to come out just so they can haunt and taunt this person. It's like, what do you mean that they're coming out? Life in Sweden isn't life either. So if you get sentenced to life in prison, if you get life in Sweden, it's not like a life sentence, but it is that you sit for 13 years and then you can go to a hearing or whatever it's called, and they can decide if you can get your sentence to, instead of it being up in the air, life is how many years, because you don't really know, they can say, okay, you will serve 15 years, so in total 2 more years, or you will be let out now, or you will be let out this and this time. So you can serve 20 years, but you will have a time limit. Not everyone gets a time limit, because we have people that we think shouldn't be let out and they don't get a time limit, so we just deny them. But that's not even the worst thing. These convicted killers, they get let out on this sort of leave, like a holiday, you could say. So if they've served 2 years, they can be let out for a weekend or for a coffee amongst other people. These people that we have locked in because we think that they are a danger to society gets to just walk freely for a day, for a weekend, for a fucking hour. That pisses me off so much. There's so many people that I've read about or that I've seen that has gotten let out for a coffee, for a weekend with their family, for a weekend at a hotel. Some people have even gotten killed during this time, and we are letting them out. Why? They don't deserve that. They should be punished. I don't fucking care if they want to go to a cafe. I don't care. You have murdered someone and you don't deserve to be let out after 2 years to go and take a fucking coffee or a chai latte in town amongst other people. Absolutely not. So on my lips, I just took the Colourpop Luxe lipstick in the shade Appy. This is all I have left, and this is an old lipstick. Old, but yeah, I feel like I used a lot of like older makeup, and I wanted to just try and do a little bit more throwback videos, do a little bit more of like older makeup tutorials with like products that's older that I have in my collection, and reach for them a little bit more, and also encourage you guys to do that. But if you don't want to hear me rant about one final thing, I'm not gonna do any more makeup or anything. Thank you for watching. Like, dislike, do you. Okay, into what I wanted to talk about. So we don't have juries in Sweden. We have judges, and we have several judges that decides the outcome of a case when you go to trial. And there is this famous case called Lindomefallet. Lindomefallet is, Lindome is a place, fallet is case in Swedish. This is such a fucked up case because it includes, the outcome of the case is insane. So 2 men are going to rob a house. They know which house they want to rob, because I think that there were a lot of guns there or weapons. Don't quote me on that. But they walk into the wrong house, and there is a old man. I think he's around 80 years old, and they end up killing him with a frying pan. Now, when they go to trial, they blame the murder on each other. So guy number 1 says, no, it was guy number 2. And guy number 2 says it was guy number 1. So they blame the murder on each other. The court doesn't know who is guilty of this murder. So what ends up happening? Well, in Sweden, you have to be certain when sentencing someone. You have to be almost 100% certain that this person is actually guilty. So since they are unsure about who did this murder, they let both of them go. No one ended up being put in jail for that crime. They got some sentencings for the robbery, but for the murder trial, they were let go. Another thing that I really want to say is that I did a case on Abbe Blattelito. I will link that right up here. He killed his ex-girlfriend. He injected her with a substance called tramadol, and he abused her for a very long time. He is a influencer that he was an influencer, a Swedish influencer that got arrested for this and put into jail for 18 years. Well, he appealed and was sentenced to 3 years. And in Sweden, you only have to serve 2/3 of your crime. So he is let out and he is now back to social media. Do you understand why I'm so fucking frustrated? This is not okay. This is something that we need to change. We need to have harsher punishments. This cannot happen. Even the Court of Appeal said that they were pretty sure that Abbe killed her and that he injected her with this substance that ultimately made her die, but they didn't know which amount he injected her with, which means that he was let go. They also knew that he was lying, but since they couldn't prove it, he was let go. I just want to hurl, I want to cry, I want to scream, I want to hit this person, I want to, oh, insane. That's insane. I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a dislike. You probably already have if you didn't like this video. I am gonna go. Okay, bye.